All right, so you have probably heard of the term learner persona, and it's probably kind of a buzzword for you at this point. Maybe it's a far-edged one. So, in this section of this course, I would love if we could take a moment and dive deeper into what is a learner persona. So, a learner persona is just a fictional, symbolic representation of a specific population of learners that you can use to guide you in your design process. So, it's kind of a point of reference that reminds you of who you are serving and who you are building learning for. So, it helps you also understand the needs, the goals, the pain points, challenges, and characteristics of your learners so you can create content that is tailored to them. So beyond talking about personas, persona is just an artifact, it's just a tool. But you don't have to create a persona if you're able to just understand who you are serving. If you can go ahead, connect with your learner population, and build empathy with them. So the more empathy, the more understanding, the better is your design and the better tailored are your learning experiences. I know that it might not make sense for you to do it all the time in all projects. Sometimes you run faster, so you don't have to make a persona. But if you have an understanding of who you are serving and what problems are you helping them solve, then it could be enough for you to build good learning experiences. But if you have time to dive deeper, especially if your project is very heavy, then I would highly, highly recommend that you take a moment to develop your learner personas. So the more you focus on building empathy with your learners, the more you can create content that is relevant and engaging to them. And this will lead to better retention and better learning outcomes. So to create a learner persona, you will need to gather information about your learners. This can include demographic info, such as age and occupation, as well as information about their learning goals, about their challenges. It could not necessarily relate to learning, it could just relate to who they are or what's their work all about. And at the same time, you don't want to gather information that's not relevant to what you're doing. Let's say you don't want to get information about their marriage status if that's not relevant to you. So you have to be a bit more picky in how you develop your personas. So here is an example of one. You can see this is Jason, who is a warehouse packer. You can take a look at his characteristics that are relevant to the warehouse type of, I think, learning. If we want him to learn something, that we have to maybe make it in a mobile format because he may be very busy or on the run. We need to understand his English level. We need to understand his reading level as well if we want to build learning for them. So maybe we'll likely have a video for him instead of text. And also we want to understand his challenges, his goals, his pain points, and his motivations in general. So that's kind of a quick persona that really, it could seem very simple, but there are some personas that are much more complex than this. But it's really a key for you as a designer, but also for your teammates, for your stakeholders, for your subject matter experts, and even sometimes you have to fight with your project team to justify some design decisions. So the persona is kind of helping you make that argument, telling you that, hey, this is not matching with what my persona told us or what our persona is going to need. Or so it's more than fictional. It's something that you use either for you to make better design decisions, but also for your teammates who might not have the time to sit and talk with the population of learners and understand them. So it's kind of a summary of insights. So you can see here from the persona as well, it includes a name, so you can give it a name, a photo, a description, and usually you form a persona after talking or surveying or observing about like 5 to 10 people in general. That's kind of the best number so that you can make informed conclusions about who you are serving. And a persona represents a larger sample of people that you've spoken with or interviewed. So it's not necessarily something that is beyond, like you don't have to go and talk to everyone in the population. You just need to talk with a sample of people or survey them or observe them or interview them. And then you make conclusions and you summarize the findings in a persona. Sometimes you may find some contradictions between personas, between the people, that you interviewed, and that's fine. You just have to make sure that they align. So Jason, you can't have like two contradicting information because you just spoke to two different warehouse packers that gave you two information. So maybe when in doubt, you'll have to talk to a third person and then you see what is confirmed and what is not. So when creating your learner persona, it's important to remember that it's a fictional representation. It's not a real person. So don't worry about getting every detail perfect. The goal is to create a useful tool that will help you design better learning experiences. And just so you know, we have a section in this course called Learn Experience Design. You will get a chance to work on a persona, and I'll dive deeper into this concept. But given that these are like more conceptual, a conceptual theoretical phase of the course, I wanted you to know that personas are artifacts and tools that are key in the instructional design process. So once you have created your learner persona, you can use it to guide the design of your learning experiences. For example, if your learner persona is a busy working adult, you may want to design your content to be mobile friendly and easy to access on the go. So the more you understand your learners, the more you are even more confident about whatever design decisions you're making in your learning experiences. For example, for me, I used to work with a team of business analysts who are super busy. So creating templates and enablement materials for them had to be very quick, had to be bite-sized, and had to be right to the point for people who have a lot of cognitive overload. So this is a template of a learner persona that I'm attaching in this section, so make sure to download it. It's in PowerPoint format. I also built this in Miro, which is my favorite whiteboarding tool. So you can see here that it's a combination of, you give it a name, you give it some bio information, you give it some characteristics, obviously, that are related to your learning project. You mention who do they interact with. You have a quote that kind of captures most of it. You have some responsibilities maybe or not. You don't have to follow all these categories. Usually you have pain points and needs. These are very important, and definitely you can have more categories. Sometimes I have a category called my knowledge needs are, or my learning style is. So you can change them based on whatever you're discovering and whatever you need to find about your persona. So in conclusion, learner personas are an important tool for aspiring and for learning designers in general. Sometimes you don't have to have a persona as long as you're able to build empathy with the learner sample. That's enough because sometimes we don't have time to build that, but it's always good to have some data. Everything you make, everything you create is based on your understanding of the population you're serving. So by understanding your learners, you can create content that is tailored to their needs, goals, pain points, and preferences, leading to a better learning experience for them and also for you to reach the retention and learning outcomes you intend, as well as the business goals and outcomes that are always underlying any learning project.